Not to mention my elbow and my hand are fucking killing me.
There we go. Alright, now let me check.
Where you going? No, you gotta go outside. Come on, Mom. He needed to go.
Alright, good. Alright. We are good. I was just checking to see if I was live on YouTube.
Mom.
2 hours to go. That's good, dear. You're almost free. Trying to see right now. Right. World domination? What? Josie, you're back to just say world domination to me. How is your golfing, Josie? I'm just right now looking boring. Then why did you go golfing if it was going to be boring? Not a huge golfer. Why did you go if you're not into golfing? the others are. Oh yeah, by the way, Josie, I tightened the arms of my chair right now. Oh, it feels so good not having rickety arms on my chair. Oh, I already feel so much better. When my arms are stiff. My chair arms are stiff. So what are you doing now, though? Are you done for the day? You gonna go somewhere else? You gonna go find you a stripper? What are you doing? What are you doing there? What's new in the life of Josie? Going for dinner? Are you, by the way, are you on vacation with your family or is it friends that you went with to Orlando? Both. Both? What do you wait? What do you mean by both? Like, by the way, Josie, when are you gonna come to my neck of the woods? Hmm? I thought you told me by a week you're gonna come down for a couple days. I have yet to see you here. Are you gonna come to my neck of the woods, or are you not gonna come? I was hoping to, maybe give you a little, selfie to take home with you. What? What?
You're chasing me with. Jeez. Man, I fucking cleaned the shit out of this house, dude. And there, that area around the versus room, man, I fucking. Seriously, man. See, I got a gas for that. Dude, you still have a half a piece here.
No, I don't like.
It's 7 and the
I have
7
my screens
maybe
quiet.
but today it's 12:30, 11 o'clock. I think that's 1 o'clock.
I fucked to $76.
How much?
And gas was. It's totally. It's been up. Hey, cut that out. Not there. Coco, you too. What the hell? Hey. Got it. Get back. Come on. Come here.
The dog?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Alright. A lot of this crap is kind of a little bit like diarrhea and shit that I went cleaned up today. I noticed. A little bit, yeah. I don't know if you're talking.
Josie's being awfully quiet. Is Josie avoiding to answer my innocent little question?
Yeah. I think I make myself one of the soups.
You know, I thought of. Maybe I should turn my music back on. Josie, should I play music?
I've been saying it all day too. I'm gonna go grab water and I fucking caught up some stuff.
Let me play some music. There you go, Josie. I put on your favorite type of music. Is that disorder right? Is that disorder? Everything burns. Everything burns.
Here.
Everything burns. Everything burns. Everything burns. Everything burns. Oh, wait. That's right. I can't play music right now. I'm on YouTube. And that's a good song, too. Actually, I can play music. You just can't hear it. Which is odd because I could have sworn I set the settings for the audio. So you guys can't on YouTube can't hear my audio, which is odd. That's really, really odd. Hang on, let's check. Let's see if I fix that, shall we? Oh no! YouTube, you can't hear the audio. Good, you can't hear the music. I'm checking to make sure really quick. Yeah, no, you don't hear it. Okay, cool. At least YouTube, you can't hear it. That's all that matters to me. So back to listening to my music then. To everybody else that's on Twitch, you can't hear the music and kick. I thought I didn't set it, but I guess I did. Ew. The mouse. Do it.
Yeah.
Go and you can say hi to her later. No.
Starting to soft rocking.
Tell you where my shit's from.
Joke again. I've got my demons with my friends. He's me in the end. I'm out to get me. Was young, I tasted sorrow on my tongue. Trigger between my eyes.
Never again. Hear it?
I think we're coming up on an hour already. Because I know I was already doing stuff. So I'll be right back, everybody. I'm just gonna go take my smoke break now. Because I just remember I restarted my whole stream and I don't know how long I was already in before my hour mark. And we're already 20 minutes in. So I can only assume I should be close to my hour mark. There we go. I'm back.
Fucking wind was freaking pushing that fucking garage door, dude. The wind was pushing the garage door. The side of the door.
On Friday, same home. Friday, Monday, I'm sick. Sleep, but morning, they park down there at 5 first. And they can be on that. Gotta get the card for Juanita.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, after you the card for them, so there's a
Mom's account pretty much. I got order a date, and I think that's pretty much it for. You should pop out of her account. And again, I knew it was gonna happen during the fact that everything was down and everything. Right, but as well, since we spent like that, last time we did that, it was the easiest that we done. Yeah, he's gonna come tomorrow. Let's start the rain.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna program my button really quick to be the Control Z, so I could not have to reach over here to do it.
Slotty. Good. Hey, stop. Both of you. Hey.
All right, so K8, that's zoom out, if I remember correctly.
Cut it out.
K7 zoom in, right?
You go there.
Yeah. All right. K6 is control. Oh wait, is it already programmed like that? Test. Let me test this. Oh, it is. Oh, it's already programmed. Thank God.
The same as the one I had. Oh. And now I was like, where the fuck's the fork?
Right there. Right there. Right there.
Guess that I feel like a monster that I become. Ooh. Ooh, wait a second. Ooh. Get in. Deep within. It's just beneath the skin. It's just because that I feel like a monster that I become. It's become. It's just because that I feel like a monster. It's beneath the sand. Just confess that I feel like a monster. Ooh. Okay, I need a surgery break. I'm sorry I fall asleep. I'm getting tired, I should say. So I'll be right back. I need to stretch and walk around. I need to wake myself up. Let's see, it's almost 7 o'clock already. You know what? I mean, I've been streaming for a while today, guys. I think I should end it here for tonight and just relax because I have been doing a lot like of talking and everything, and I'm just tired. Plus, the whiskey's kind of killing down my energy right now. I'll come back tomorrow around the same time in the afternoon as today. I just need a little bit of a rest. I'm just tired. You know what I mean? And then when I come back, we'll hit at this again tomorrow afternoon, early evening kind of thing. Because this is where I kind of am starting to get a little bit more leveled out on my stream time again, since my workload is starting to decrease. So until I start working on the new streaming room, then I'll be back at the full swing of hell again for at least a month or two. I'm hoping that all this will be over by the summer. This craziness, because it's a lot of energy I'm expending and going over there, coming back here, stream. Because I'm over there most of the morning into the mid afternoon to come back here to stream and then burn out the last of the energy I have. So it's a lot. It's a lot, to say the least. So that's what I'm going to probably do. I'm going to end it here for today, guys, and then I'll come back tomorrow afternoon. We'll continue. But at least we're starting to get this character, the main character, flushed out. I really wanted to add straps to his pants anyway, and I didn't know if I wanted to go with more business casual kind of pants at first, but I was like, you know what? The cargo pants actually do him justice, in all honesty, because I don't want to make him too prim and proper, or like I wanted him to kind of have like, the whole thing is his mother raised him and she was a huntress, so she would train him. He may not have had a father, but the mother was a huntress in the same team as the father. So why wouldn't she teach him how to protect himself and defend himself, So I like it. It would make sense for him to wear more semi-proper or formal attire if he wasn't raised that way, but he was raised in a background that just, I can't see him being like that. I mean, he's got a turtleneck on underneath to keep his body temperature and everything, so it makes sense. How the way I'm going with it, it just makes sense. It's my perspective of how he would look, in my opinion, and this just makes better sense. And honestly, his whole attire actually kind of meshes. The whole look to him meshes the way I would think this guy would probably look. Yeah, he's got a few straps on him, like on his legs and stuff, but the straps serve a purpose. Because I didn't want to just put straps on him if they didn't serve a purpose. And honestly, I'm happy that I did give him a purpose by putting like a pouch on it or something. Because it would just look so, to me, it would be so weird to have useless straps attached to him. And I'm glad I listened to that thought in my head, going like, hey, you might want to add something to it, don't make it look kind of like it says there to be there kind of thing. Give it a purpose. Because, like, to me, logically, and this is just me logically thinking, that's why I think the weapon designs are so crucial to me of how I'm trying to go for, because I'm going to pause the music for a moment. for those that are on YouTube, I'm sorry you guys can't hear music. Is that, you know, I really don't feel like having to hear YouTube bitch at me over copyright issues. I mean, they already are demonetizing my my streams anyway because I curse. But you know, going to what I was trying to say, you know, when I'm doing these character designs, because yes, this is a fan comic surrounded around Ruby. You know, it's in Remnant, but it's just in the future. It's 17 years after the fall of Beacon. Because I really don't want to bring in the characters that Monty Ohm designed or the characters that Rooster Teeth designed. Because I'm going to be honest, Rooster Teeth made their own characters. And sorry to say that was Monty's. Because what they did was they rode on the train that Monty envisioned all the what Rooster Teeth did. And honestly, I don't think it was following Monty's vision after a while. I still believe that to this day, kind of thing. But going to what I'm saying, you know, you go into like Monty Styles for his characters. He had a concept artist that did all the work, like designed the characters, how they would look and everything. I don't know if they changed the concept artist over time. I remember the original concept artist from season 1 to 3 when Monty was alive. I don't know if they changed the artist after that or they kept the same artist. I don't remember. But excuse me. The artist damn, what the hell? Sorry about that again. The artist did all these different designs and everything with the with fabrics and straps and everything, some of which didn't make sense. Like I saw a YouTube video yesterday, actually, somebody that was complaining about the Ruby Ice Queendom, and that was done by fans, by the way. That's not an actual Rooster Teeth Rooster Teeth okayed the project, but it wasn't a Rooster Teeth production piece. It was actually a fan made project, and then when it got put on the internet, Rooster Teeth dubbed over it for the English version for Americans. But the funny thing is, people were saying that Yang's design is always so hit or miss, and I'm like, no. The fact is that Yang is basically chaotic. That's the whole thing. Her style is chaos. If you really think about it, you look at her look, her original look. It was more synchronized, and then as the series went on, they started making it more and more chaotic. After I want to say Volume 3, because if you also realize this too, there was no costume changes for the main characters until after Monty's death. That's why I say Rooster Teeth version of Ruby, because it seems like Monty wasn't going to do heavy costume changes. It was more Rooster Teeth that wanted to do it, because again, the newest director of Ruby, the one that's been doing it since volume 4 and onward, he does all the anime tropes and cliches because that's all he knows. He doesn't know originality. Originality came from Monty. Monty made Ruby to be original and unique because, again, Monty was out there. You know, Monty had pure creativity. You know, the artist that he worked in tandem with would basically try to figure out and decipher how these characters would look and how the weapons would work and look based off of what Monty would tell them. Now, obviously, when you already have a pre-made, you know, a basis and a foundation to work on, all you're just doing is you're taking the appearance and then changing it whenever you want. Monty did do a costume change though in the earlier volumes, in like I think it was like volume 1 and then no, volume 2. He did a costume change on the characters, but it was not meant to be a permanent thing. You know, it was like a here and there costume change, and then it was like an episode for a costume change, and that was it. And then they went back to their actual combat attire. And that's kind of how I liked it, actually, because it wasn't like every 2 seasons here's a new setup for the characters. I didn't understand that, because volumes 1 through 3 it was the same exact outfit that they did combat in, and then volume 4 they changed the outfits altogether completely. Then Volume 5 was the same outfits, and then Volume 6 they changed it again. Volume 7 was the same outfits, and then Volume 8 they changed it one last time, and then in Volume 9 it was the same one as Volume 8's. So I didn't really like them constantly changing their outfits. I mean, cool, you're giving them another type of appearance, but it's a bit much. Like when you're just doing it every 2 seasons, it's getting a bit much because I think they were trying to do it as a symbolism. Like I'm gonna give Rooster Teeth like for the first time ever a shadow of the doubt. I'm gonna be the devil's advocate here and say that they probably did it to try to show that they were maturing and aging, so they needed new clothes. But I'm gonna be honest, your body stops growing after 18. What people don't realize is that Ruby, most of the characters were 17. They're already at that point where they're gonna stop growing completely. So because between volume 1 and 2, that's like it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be a semester. So about a semester in a college would be about 3 months, 3 to 4 months. That's a semester. So between volumes 1 and 2, it's a semester. Volume 3 is in the middle of that second semester, and then volume 4 is like a year gap, 2-year gap or something like that. So the character's now like 18, 19. Depending on which characters, because everybody's not born the same fucking day. But to get into Beacon, you have to start off at the age of 17. That's a fact. Ruby was 15 when she entered Beacon. So by volume 4, I would say she's probably like 16, maybe 17. Maybe 17. And then it's just like now and then the fandom made it that now they're like in their 20s. The fandom is dictating that because they wanted to go that every year a new season came out, it was their birthday. I was like, that's not how that works, because that means they would already be well into their 20s. That means the whole thing from Beacon up until where the point of it is at would be 9 years. Or, sorry, not 9 years, but like 5 years in the timeline, which would be ridiculous at the time. Because that means that they'd be already like 24, 25 and all that. I want to say that, in all honesty, I don't think it would be that drastic of an age gap for the characters, because that was the whole thing. Like they did, like the fandom tried to control the show, and I'm gonna be honest on that. The fandom really tried to think that they can control the show, and Rooster Teeth was allowing it. That's why the show went so downhill, because they would listen to the fandom way too much on what they wanted, and it would ruin a lot of cohesion within the story at times, like relationships between characters and stuff like that. It just that's how you ruin a show, because that's how Rooster Teeth was not going by Monty's notes. Is if they're listening way too much to the community. Monty didn't do that. Monty didn't listen to the community. Like, Monty just made his stuff and released it. What happened was Rooster Teeth, when they took it over after Monty's death, you could see that subtle difference now. Because literally after Monty passed, Monty was just doing what he wanted to do. He always thanked the fans for, supporting his project, but he never asked them like, hey, what should I do next? He never did that. But Rooster Teeth would be like, when they took it over, they would be like, oh, so what do you think about this, this, and that? What do you guys think? Meaning they would give their opinion and then they would take it and run with it. So it shows that they weren't really going based off of what Monty wanted. They would kind of take ideas from the fans and run with it. And then thinking that would be a great idea. And to me, it's not, because that means there's no originality. And the whole thing is, if you're not having a real original idea, you're just asking the fans nonchalantly, like as if they would never notice at some point. Like me, I noticed it, that you were listening to the fandom the whole time to do what the fandom wanted, and the fandom realized it very quickly, because they realized it. They threatened that if Blake and Yang didn't get together, they were gonna basically boycott Ruby, even though Blake and Sun, by volume 5 and 6, they were hanging out together the whole time, and they were starting to really have that moment of romance started to grow on them, and then the fandom fucked it up. That's the truth. And people are gonna probably say, "Oh, you're part of the Black Sun fandom," and I'm like, I'm not part of the Black Sun fandom. I don't give a fuck about your ships because I've seen some of the ships that the Ruby community makes, and it's fucking disgusting. They shipped Blake with a literal dog. They shipped Blake with a literal dog, Ruby's dog, a corgi. It was fucking disgusting. There was no reason for that. Literally, the fandom is toxic. The Ruby fandom is toxic, and I'll be honest. You have some fans that are like me, where we just look at it logically, and then you have the fans that we call the extremists. Because you have extremists in any fandom, and that's a fact. The Halo fandom has extremists. They are not open to anything new. Even I have like my reservations on some new things that Halo was doing that I didn't agree with, but I still went with it to see where they were trying to go with the direction. I'm not gonna lie though, Halo's not doing too well right now because their direction's kind of going crazy and all over the place and making no sense anymore. But same thing goes with Rooster Teeth. I was the same way. Like, I'm gonna be honest on that. Like, some of the direction with what was going on with Ruby was like, this is dumb. Like the whole thing with Tai Yang, that Tai Yang needs to be Ruby's dad. Why? I mean, she has nothing of a similarity to Tai Yang, and I really do think Monty was hoping that I'm hoping that Monty was actually going to say that before he died, like, Crow was actually secretly Ruby's dad. It's just like because of his semblance, he didn't want to get her hurt, so he had her live with Tai Yang. Because I asked the fandom one time, wait, you guys say that you don't like Jean because he's a quote unquote misogynist. This is a true thing. The fandom is so deranged. They think Jean Arc was a misogynist because multiple people could see that Jean could mesh very well with some of the female characters to date. And then I'm like, you guys called him misogynist, but you guys are okay with Tai Yang, who literally just after breaking up with Yang's mom, after she just had birthed out Yang, to knocking up Ruby's mother, is not misogyny. Because literally, if you look at Yang and Ruby's age gap, it's only 2 years. So that means Tai Yang had already had his daughter for a year, probably, let's just say. Because the rate of recovery between childbirth and a woman's recovery time takes a few months after child labor. That's a fact. So let's say Raven stuck around for a year in Yang and Tai Yang's life. Okay. And then now this is where I'm going to go into this whole really fucked up situation that Rooster Teeth created when they did the shit. And this is why I get pissed with these Rooster Teeth extremists, as I like to call them. It takes 9 months to form a baby. I mean, until childbirth, right? So that's almost a whole year. So if there's a 2-year gap between Yang and Ruby, 9 months, that's almost 1 year. Then Raven gave birth. Boom. All right. Now, 1 year after which, let's say Raven leaves. Okay. Let's say about a year. That would literally make no sense as to how quickly Tai Yang got with Ruby's mom to have the next child. And people are probably going like, what do you mean? That it makes perfect sense. No, it doesn't make sense. Because if it's a 2-year gap between Ruby and Yang, most people date a year before they start to think about getting serious. So you're basically saying that Tai Yang is a misogynist because that means literally as soon as Raven left, in less than a year, he already knocked up Ruby's mom to make it a 2-year gap. Because if it takes 9 months to have a baby, now you factor in the fact that Raven gave birth. She cannot just up and leave right away because she needs some time to recover. Her body's going to be expended of a lot of energy, and then she leaves. So we'll say like 3 months. That means she left when Yang was 3 months old, let's just say. But I don't believe that either. Because I remember there was a short story about Yang talking about Ruby, like when they were kids. And that came out in volume 2 when they were doing this whole thing with Ruby where they were showing episodes and then this, like, it was 1 week an episode and then 1 week this side thing talking about the World of Remnant, and it failed epically. Nobody liked that one. But I liked it because it was building up lore, and Monty was onto something with that because he was actually building up his world in this matter. But the fact of the matter is that if you do the math, even if Monty intended it that way or Rooster Teeth just made it that way, either way, they're both wrong because it doesn't add up. It would not have added up. That means Tai Yang was a misogynist. No matter how you look at it, Tai Yang would have been a misogynist. Because that means he was already probably cheating on Raven with Ruby's mother. If we want to look at it logically. Again, this is me looking at things logically. Because as a creator, you have to be logical to a degree. You have to be. There's got to be a logical explanation to everything you do. Because if not, people look at plot holes. And then they go, oh, look, there's a plot hole here. There's a plot hole there. There's a plot hole there. And Ruby had a lot of plot holes. Since season 1, there was plot holes. People will tell you that. But Rooster Teeth was just digging extra plot holes by the time volume 4, 5, 6, 7, so on came out. They were just digging more plot holes that never got filled, half of them. So what I'm saying is that I still think Crow is Ruby's father. I think that was the intention, was that Crow is Ruby's dad. Because you look at Raven and Tai Yang, and then look at Yang. Yang is a perfect 50-50 split between the two characters. She has hair like Raven, but colors, her hair color is like Tai Yang's. Her eyes are not like Raven's, but they're like Tai Yang's. However, until she gets pissed, and then her eyes turn like Raven's. Then we look at the skin complexions. Yang got Raven's skin complexion. It's that nice alabaster fairness. It's a fair skin that she got. But she got Tai Yang's clothing style. So what I'm saying is she's a perfect 50-50 split down the middle of the two characters. But unlike her mother, she decided to go with Tai Yang's fighting style with fists. Because Tai Yang raised her that way. So if we look at now Ruby. Some people just told me, well, she saw Crow as a dad. That makes no sense. She wouldn't have looked up to Crow because Crow only visited. If we think logically, Crow only visited because you know why? Crow worked for Signal Academy. Tai Yang was a teacher at Ferris Academy, which is 2 separate areas in Vale that they taught at. That means when you look at it, she would have had more time with Tai Yang over Crow, technically, because Crow would have to come visit when he could, because Signal Academy was on an island. This is why sometimes people hate me, because I start really getting down to the nitty-gritty of things. So if you look at it logically, if Crow was just an uncle, he wouldn't have been so prominent in Ruby's life. Then we look at Ruby. She has no traits whatsoever of Tai Yang. Only traits of Summer Rose. But there's one reoccurring trait between Summer Rose and Crow. They're both very fair skinned. Because what I'm trying to explain here is you look at Tai Yang. Tai Yang was very tanned. He was like my skin complexion if the good old ring light wasn't washing me out. He's got tan in his skin. He's a darker skinned male. So you look at it like that logically. Basically what people are going to try to probably say that you don't know what you're saying. I am knowing what I'm saying because every child has traits of the family members that their DNA is mixed with. Ruby's looks too much just like Summer Rose's, but there is some subtleties to Crow. Her mentality is a lot like Crow's. That's to give you an idea. Like, what people don't realize is that kids also take after their parents on the way they think, too. So, if Ruby is taken after Crow, Ruby has the same skin complexion as Crow and Summer. There's a lot of similarities. How do we know Crow wasn't meant to be daddy? Because Rooster Teeth says so after Monty died? It's stupid. It was after Monty died. We would never know the truth because Monty knew the truth. Rooster Teeth just said, nah, Crow's not the dad, because Rooster Teeth said it, not the actual creator. Rooster Teeth will say anything to get money out of their fans. That was proven before they went under. They were doing everything to get money. They were charging for a lot of different stupid shit. And then they were overpricing a lot of their stuff too in the end to hopefully, get themselves out of debt, which didn't happen. So what I'm saying is, you look at it logically, Crow would have been Ruby's dad, not Tai Yang. And if you are on board with the whole Tai Yang being Ruby's dad, then you're supporting misogyny. Because with the math that I just did in front of everybody, plus the fact of the matter is how quickly he would have had a recover time, that means he never really loved Raven. That means he just enjoyed the time of Raven. You know the old expression, here for a short time, not a long time. Or sorry, here for a good time, not a long time. That means he's a good time Charlie. He didn't give a fuck if his wife left. But then he's now a dad, so he's got no choice but to care. So, yeah, he's a misogynist. If you were to look at it any way that you want to try to rationalize it, the only way that would have not made him look like a misogynist is the way that I'm talking about. That would have made him actually a non-misogynist and more likable character. And that's the truth about it. Boom. I'm gonna drop the mic on that. I don't care what anybody says. That is how it should have been with Ruby. Tai Yang would have been a pseudo father figure to Ruby because of the fact that Crow is afraid of Ruby being around him with his semblance, because his semblance was bad luck, and he didn't want her to get hurt after Summer Rose supposedly got hurt and died. It would have made better sense that way. And instead, they went with this stupid whole narrative that Tai Yang is the father. Rooster Teeth decided to change that narrative and make it into their own, that Tai Yang was the dad of both of them. I would have believed that if there were a 3-year gap between Ruby and Yang. There is a literal 2-year gap between them. Not a 3, 2. Because to get into Beacon, you have to be 17. Yang is 17 when she gets into Beacon. Ruby was 15 when she got into Beacon. They got in the same exact time. So if you think about it logically, the math isn't mathing for Tai Yang to have been the dad, unless he was a misogynist. Let's say it like that. And ow, that hurt. My wrist hurt there. And that is why I'm bringing this up, because it didn't make sense when Rooster Teeth announced that. And I'll say that honestly. I really do think Monty intended for Crow to be Ruby's biological father. there's too much similarities. It's like I said, every child has traits from both parents. Appearance, like, fun fact about me, my parents is a 50-50 split between my father's family and my mother's family. I have my mother's side of the family's eye shape. I have my dad's forehead. You know, the rounded face, that's definitely my mom's side of the family. But yeah, what I'm saying is that every child has traits of both sides of the family. You look at Ruby and you look at Tai Yang, there's no fucking traits that are similar. You look at Crow, you look at Ruby, you look at Summer Rose's picture versus Ruby, they're the perfect 50-50 split. And then Rooster Teeth said, no, she's biologically Tai Yang's dad. So cool. Tai Yang is a misogynist. Got it. You guys are pieces of shit for allowing misogyny. Even though everybody thinks that Tai Yang is somehow a good dad. Which makes zero sense to me, if that be the case. If misogyny is a good thing, damn, I guess I'm doing this all wrong in life. Maybe I need to become a misogynist. Last I checked, misogyny was always looked at as bad. So yeah, I'm sorry if I'm kind of like dumping all this on you guys and like boring some of you, but it's the truth. That's how I really do think. Rooster Teeth interjected way too much after Monty died and made Ruby their thing. It's not Monty's vision anymore. It was their vision, how they wanted it, to market it, to make it more catered to one sect of people to make money off of. And again, and I will reiterate, I don't care if anybody is LGBT or not, but you cannot tell me they weren't just marketing it to the LGBT community after Monty died. Because literally every character was in a same-sex relationship. Every character was part of the LGBT community later on. And Monty didn't do it that way in the beginning. What I'm trying to say is they used it to market to make money, not to show real romance or relationships or character growth. They made it an identity to the character that they had to be this sexuality. And as I stated earlier, that is the worst idea you could ever do for character design, because it will only work for so long until somebody catches on, and then it's going to burn. What happened to Ruby? What happened to Rooster Teeth? They're gone. Ruby, now owned by Viz Media. And guess who's trying to weasel his way back into Ruby? At Viz Media. The guy that took over after Monty died. He wants to take it back because he says that it's his. Yeah, you heard me right. He says that it's his. That means Rooster Teeth never fucking cared about Ruby like that. They didn't care that they were trying to keep Monty's legacy. This guy is trying to literally weasel his way back in. Is he saying that he's not done with it yet? That's foul. That's foul. You didn't care about the man. I'm not an asshole like that though. But you know, I will call out assholes. Like, if you think logically, what I'm saying makes sense with a lot of things I'm saying, because it doesn't make sense otherwise, and it wrecks your brain around it. By the way, shortly here, guys, I am going to be calling it. I do have some. I'm gonna go. Spend a little bit of time with my mom's family for St. Patty's Day. Just see how they're doing. Because for those that don't know, my mother's side of the family is Scotch, Irish, and British mixed, but we're American. Obviously, we immigrated from there in the 1700s to the U.S. So yeah, I am gonna go spend a little bit of time with them tonight, just to see how they're doing. Even though I was there this morning doing work, doesn't mean I got to spend time and sit down and be like, "Hey, how's everybody's doing today?" I was stuck sandpapering bathroom tile and a bathtub to get it ready to be resurfaced. My arms are tired because I didn't have an electric hand sander. Oh no 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 no! I didn't even have sandpaper. Oh no 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 no! I had something called a sandpaper sponge. It's basically this. It's literally a sponge, like a sponge, like regular sponge, and it's wrapped in sandpaper. If that makes sense, it's meant for like surfaces that you require moisture to sand, and I had to use that. My arms are tired. That's why I kind of have been a little like sluggish with my drawing today. It's because my arms are just destroyed. And tomorrow I have to paint all the shower tile, the bathtub, in the new resurfacing paint to change the color. I'm just like tired. And then I think my mother said later on she needs me to because I also sandpapered the floor in the bathroom by accident. Because that's how she made it sound like that. She wanted me to also sandpaper the bathroom tile. Because I think she was saying I thought she had told me that she also wanted that repainted. I was like, we're painting the floor? Okay. So I did that too. Well, I did that first, was the floor. Found out no, that wasn't what she wanted done. So I sandpapered literally the entirety of a bathroom today, which was is the weirdest thing to say. I literally sandpapered a bathroom today. But that literally fucking happened. I literally sandpapered a whole bathroom pretty much. So yeah. All right, everybody. I am gonna let you all go. We're gonna go raid into Mikey, because I think they're my only friend that's on right now. So we're gonna raid into them, and I'm gonna see you all tomorrow afternoon. Till then, bye bye.